Okay, we've got multiple problems here on multiple slides, so you're not seeing all the problems that are in this video right at the start. You'll see them later on. You can forward through if you're looking for one of the later problems. Now, which diagram shows plane PQR? Where is plane PQR? Well, interestingly, in this first one, PQR is not a plane that's traced out and drawn, right? It doesn't show it in that diagram, okay? So PQR, here we see, and I'm going to say, mark it here, PQR. This is PQR, okay? Where is it on this C? Again, PQ and R on this one is right here, going there, and PQR, this one right here. Okay. PQR on this one, since those points are like that, there's some plane that's there that is not being drawn in the figure. Okay. And then plane QRS, let's trace that one out. Plane QRS, Q to R to S. Well, again, in A, that's all kind of jumbled up. Q to R to S is not a single plane that's shown. But on this one, let's see, Q to R to S. Again, in B, it doesn't work. I don't see that. Q to R to S down here, I see written there. That's good. Okay. And Q to R to S in D also is not traced out with the illustration that we've got. Okay. Q to R to S. And so does it fit the requirements? C, it looks like it's doing good so far. Does it fit the requirements of needs to intersect only at line QR? So let's trace it, that line where they intersect. And does that go through Q and does it go through R? Yeah, it goes through Q right there. And it goes through R right there. And so we see those two planes intersecting at line QR. And then the answer is C. And I will box it out and we will be done. Now for this one, this is interesting because it says name the intersection of these two planes. Well, notice this. Notice this. Remember, planes, if they intersect at all, because they could be parallel, and you can see, well, that's why it says D, the planes need not intersect, but they do need to intersect. Why do they need to intersect? Because, take a look, we've got CG as 2 points on that plane and CG as 2 points on that plane. So it's impossible to contain the same points if they don't intersect. So they must intersect. In fact, if they intersect and they're not the exact same plane, then they intersect at a line. And if it intersects at a line, we can name that line with 2 points. What 2 points do we know are on both? C and G. So therefore, we can say line CG, since both planes contain those 2 points, then there's a line that runs through those 2 points, which is their line of intersection. So if you look at the name and you see 2 points the same in the name of 2 different planes, you know that there's a line that runs through those 2 points, and that's that line of intersection. Okay, now number 14, what is the intersection of plane STXW? That's weird because they name it with 4 points. It's fine. You'll see that sometimes in this this math program we're using, but typically it's 3. But let's trace it out in orange. STXW, that's in the back here. That plane right there. Okay. And SVUT, do that in green. SVUT, that's this right here. Okay. What is the intersection? Well, again, they both contain both S and T as points. And so line ST is where they're going to intersect. It's the same idea as number 13. You just actually have an illustration, but they're running through those 2 points. We know they're running through those 2 points because their name contains both points S and T. So now we then say line S and T. Line ST is it. Okay, name a 4th point on plane WXV. Let's see where WXV is. WXV. Well, if it goes from W to X, and also V, then we're going diagonally through the box. So if we're going diagonally through the box like that, this is also going to go diagonally through the box like that, and then carve out that diagonal plane that's not one of the walls of the box, but runs diagonally through it. And so WXV means it's going to also then contain point U. Okay? Hopefully you can see that diagonal plane right there. Now, what plane contains points C, D, and G? C, D, and G. This is this surface, C, D, G. Okay? So we also see, and actually let me just box it out with putting all the lines because I want to see all the letters. And this one, okay, bottom of the figure, top of the figure, front of the figure, plane that passes out a slant through it. Well, that's the front of the figure, right? You can know that it's the front because notice these dotted lines here. This indicates that they're there, but they're not visible to us if this was a solid figure that we couldn't, see through. It was opaque. So since we can't really see those, we know those are behind, and this is in the front because we can see all of the edges of it. So it's the plane in the front of the figure. That's the answer, C. Okay, and we're done.